It's another episode of the Blathering Live. I'm Ken Napzok. How are you all doing here today? Let's make sure the lighting's good here. We are live on a Monday. Back at it after the weekend was taken off. As always, dealing with some connection issues. I apologize if you're watching live. The stream might be a little wonky. I'm here. You just might not. I might get crunchy. Tully's here, Lazy Bolt's here, James Holmes, the UK checking in. Kingsport Cal, big day for Kingsport Cal. We're going to open up this package here in a bit. It's going to be the return of a Saturday night Napzok segment here tonight, if I can pull it all off by myself here. Shout out to producer Steve. Oh, don't we miss that producer Steve. Just one of those days where, for no reason whatsoever, the lighting is a little darker, and that kind of shit drives me crazy. There, I said it. Shit. Ding me, YouTube. Ding me. A lot to get to, but I want to take calls tonight. YouTube channel members call in here. Patreon supporters at patreon.com/KenNapzok. Get in here. I want you to call in with thoughts on any of the big headlines. Why don't we do that? We can talk silly stuff. By the way, I'm gonna announce some at the end of the show related to Saturdays and silly stuff. David McKay's here. Thanks to anyone watching now who also watched the Force Center live stream today. News, 12 o'clock Pacific time zone. It was fascinating to be talking about the Jimmy Kimmel situation right in the middle of the show. He is brought back. It's still unfolding. You still have Sinclair broadcasting station saying, we're not going to run him, taking this big stand against, I'd say free speech, but just Jimmy. It's all still a little bonkers. Beyond just what Jimmy will say when he returns to the air, which all eyes will be on him. I'm sure the ratings will be well there. I secretly hope he pulls Steve Martin's character for The Simpsons, where he's like, you all made this mess, goodbye. He won't because of his staff. But, a man can dream. So if you have questions, thoughts about that, put them in chats here. Super Blathers we'll get to at the end of the show. I'd be very honored if you donated to the cause. But as always, not needed to join the conversation today. And it's also one of those days I was getting some tech stuff ready, ran out of time. So I was trying to pull up some more of the stories that I wanted to talk about today. I'm trying to have more timely thumbnails, which means a day or two before you go live on a show that's completely based on the news cycle of that day. You kind of have things of what's happened. The TikTok deal going through with I would say murderer's row, but a suicide squad of corporate assholes getting their hands on TikTok after this, several year-long battle, it would seem, before we get a ban and this and that. And I got to be honest, Sean has a comment above pay grade from an earlier conversation in chat. Above my pay grade on the good, the bad, and the ugly of TikTok. I'm on it now because I have to. I've always had one, but now I use it to get things out there, right? It's a medium. It's what we do. But so the idea of a purchase happening and a United States-based companies buying it because that was China was spying on us, and maybe, right? Like, that's why when I say, you want to read the headlines, you want to educate yourself. But I'm going to air tonight going, I don't know, sure. It sounds good. But when it ends up, the Oracle at the lead of it and Silver Lake, another company with, Rupert Murdoch behind a lot of this, Silver Lake Partners, and Rupert Murdoch and computer pioneer Michael Dell. Oh, I had a Dell once. Am I the problem? They are looking to, it's going to be an 80-20 ownership with ByteDance, United States algorithm, a new app to download. It's something. And I only bring it up and put the headline. I want to know what you think. Put it in chat. Call in. Let's do an old school radio show. It's not even I think it's good or bad overall, but the idea of this company, particularly Oracle and the Ellison family, continuing to just gobble up things, Paramount, Skydance, all that stuff, And with what we've been seeing this week with Jimmy, ABC, the affiliates, all that stuff, you get that foreboding feeling. Is anyone else dealing with that? Is anyone else feeling that? When you look outside the window, it's easy to say, I think every generation in the driver's seat has said, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. But now we can see the flames and the basket's floating closer and closer. Like it's just this, I got this foreboding sense that every time there's something like this, which doesn't mean it's always going to be. And you don't want to give into the doom, beyond just doom scrolling. I don't want to be a doomer. I don't like that energy. There's always ways to fight back, always ways to talk about things. And if this gets shut down, YouTube, Google shuts down free speech, or you go somewhere else, we can figure that out. But I see that headline and it's like, how is that going to play out? How is that going to, what else are they going to buy? And when you see these mergers continue to happen and less and less regulations or less and less people in power interested to stop it, this talk of the second Gilded Age seems to be more real. You know what I mean? And in the meantime, another thing to call in about, World War III. Let's talk about World War III. Yeah. Let's talk about it. There's a story that came out in Express UK. UK fans, how much do you put into stories from the Express? I want to know. I don't know. But with Russia pushing into NATO territory and airspace, specifically Poland, I used to have a stand-up joke that was like an old-timey newsreel thing. Like years ago, 20 years ago, I used to do this bit. I don't even remember the bit, but it had a line of like, it's 1939, Germany marches on Poland. And that punchline is just this real history. It's crazy to me that here we are again. And Poland is this canary in the coal mine of what might be happening. So if you have any thoughts on World War III, any thoughts on TikTok, call into the show. Addie's here, says, I fully support the TikTok ban. It has been and continues to be terrible for society as a whole and dangerous for kids. Yeah, it is. It is. It's also a means to an end for folks like me. But that's why. And I actually saw an interview the other day with a couple folks. I shouted out. It was Phil DeFranco and Mr. Beat, my favorite YouTube historian, talking about social media, the dangers of it. Mr. Beat being a teacher in school, used to be before he went full-time YouTuber, younger, high school. But he was saying, and maybe Dr. Addy would have a thought on this too, of just like, he goes, we should go back to just pencil and paper. Get all that stuff out of the schools. And, obviously it's more complicated than that, but same line of thinking there. But they were talking about, what kind of regulations, and it's like, then it gets into weird territory. So maybe we all should go back to pencil and paper. Maybe. Also, is there a football game on? I totally pulled out of football this weekend. It was so ugly for the Dolphins. It was a good game on Thursday. We hung in there. If the circumstances were better, what with World War III and all, I think I would enjoy that loss better. But it's a devastating 0-3, and I just turned it all off there. Also in the news today, the Tylenol thing. We'll talk about that in a second. I don't have much to say on it other than in my segment here in a second. But the breaking news today of Kimmel to almost, it's not even complete the circle, but to go around, kind of to where we started again what was it, Thursday, that the news came down with him being suspended. The news broke live during Force Center in an episode in which we were talking about that instead of Star Wars, because it's obviously way more important and affects Star Wars and affects the company that is underneath the umbrella. A lot of these other companies making these decisions. I still think it's fluid meeting. I wonder how long Jimmy's willing to stay there. I have no insight in this, and I can only go with what I'm saying with myself. If you got 200 people on your shoulders, that makes the decision completely just tough and convoluted and dangerous. There's no nothing to make me think that Jimmy would just want to walk and screw the rest of them. Could he walk and take them with you? You know what I mean? Like, could we find another format, another medium? He seems like the kind of guy that would do that. But also, I think there's some power in minor victory that is still ongoing. Again, Sinclair Broadcasting announcing that still most of their stations in the ABC affiliate network not going to broadcast not Fallon, Kimmel tonight. Fallon's the next week problem. They're going to broadcast local news. They're going to preempt it. So things still go on. Things still go on. And they'll probably get their merger. And I'm sure Jimmy's going to need to say something in the way of an apology. I hope he doesn't make a donation to Turning Point USA. But again, if it's like, I donate that, my staff gets to work. It's the old, what's it, the movie Boy's Life, where what's it cost to get you get that person out of your life? You know what I mean? So anyways, if you've got any thoughts on that, do that there. Kingsport Cows missed the Force Center episode today. Don't worry about that. Addy goes on to say, yeah, TikTok, it took a whole year. It took it to a whole other level. It's demonstrably changing our attention spans and affecting the brain. Yeah, the trends it spawns are often harmful and dangerous. Yeah, don't disagree with any of that. I just, genie's out of the bottle, right? Great Christina Aguilera song. So how do we best go forward is the only way I could think. Like I said, even though I'm on it, I'm not on it. So I don't disagree with anything Addie's saying there. 8984M Brady saying, also saying, it's not a good app, but the national security reason for the ban is super loose and has been applied everywhere else. Yeah, I think that's where I fought against the idea behind it. I definitely could say it's an app, and social media at large is probably, it's the thing of the universe. It's the creation of the universe that changed everything. And whoever's keeping track, if up in heaven, they're like, they got a history book of the universe. Like, that was a crazy time, right? That changed everything completely. It's like wheel, flight, social media, internet is in that, but there's something extra about social media, right? Internet was dangerous in its own way, but social media seems to be level up. But yeah, the national security concern was, even if you can convince me to a little bit, even if I can meet you a little bit on that one, it just was also an eye roll by the people that did it and said it. Cam Stewart says, I'm slowly dropping my social media. Have been off Facebook and Instagram for a while, contemplating just wiping my profiles. I think that's all your choices. I really get that. I'll never be there. I'll share why if anyone's interested. You will disconnect yourself from life to a dangerous degree, I think. You will drop off the planet. And I know we all think about following Laserbolt out into the forest, eat some meats. But the friends that I have seen do that, I've never seen them again. This is in the old days. And in fact, in the old days, you'd know someone for a little bit, and then that was it. Poof, gone. And maybe you might say, well, that's okay. Yeah, with some people, maybe. But I have just seen so many people be like, I'm out of here, cancel my profiles, and they're just gone. And I think that's not worth it for me. I will always stay connected, and just be present in that side of the world. But that's just me. I think we all got to make our own choices. Am I saying it's a bad idea to go into the forest with Laserbolt? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We all should maybe go into the forest. It wouldn't be a bad thing. We all have our forest dreams. I don't remember my NFL picks. I didn't write them down. That was my problem this week. I did not write down my NFL picks from last week. Anyone remember? I don't know. Okay. So now we are going to try to pull this off here. Can I do it? It is the return of something I used to do on Saturday night. Napzok, it's back. The list. Now it's time for the list. Today we've got the best side effects caused by taking Tylenol.
Number 3.
You're going to ruin your liver worse than any whiskey will, so keep on drinking.
Number 2.
You'll start discounting years of scientific research to own the libs.
Number 1.
And the best side effect caused by taking Tylenol? Your Republican friends will no longer talk to you. And that's the list. So, Kingsport Cal sent me something. I'm excited to open this. We're doing an opening. We're doing an opening here. Get my scissors. So, a lot of times when people send me stuff, I'm just let the music bed play. Why not have a music bed? There it goes. Oh, there it goes. It's back. So we have a mailbox. It's listed on the old YouTubes down below. If you're watching, if you're listening, find the. I'd say go to my website, but it's not working. I gotta find out why. So just making sure. So normally when people send me something, they have their return address. And I want to make sure I don't accidentally dox anybody. So I was, going to open this. And then I noticed that Calvin, and I'll hide his last name just in case he doesn't want people to know. But Kingsport Cal sent this. It just says Calvin, surname, East Tennessee. East, Tennessee. Cal, how did you do that? How did they allow that to happen? That doesn't seem right at all. That doesn't seem right at all. All right, so I know what this is, but I don't know how Cal got this through the mail. Cal, this is more suspicious than I would have thought, especially since I know what you were sending. Cal, why don't you call into the show? Yeah, I know what you're... Cal says, I've sent you a letter before, kid, with my actual address on it. Yes, I know, Cal, but my concern is this, because I know what's inside. It's just now it's even a little more suspicious than I would have first thought. Yeah, no, Addie's right. They only need a return address, return to sender. Yeah. I get it, but it's really suspicious, Cal. All right, a little ASMR for you. Let's do this. Yeah, Rachel, you don't technically need a return address. Yeah, I get that. It's just suspicious. It's really suspicious. All right, Kingsport Cal is here. I think this is important to do with Cal. I think that's what we should do. Where is my goddamn calls? All right, Kingsport Cal, you're on, buddy. You there?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Ian,
do you have anything to say for yourself?
Like Addie said, you don't have to have unless you want it back. They can't send it to you, and I didn't want it back necessarily because I knew it would get to you. That whatever Steve says, despite Steve's doubts, he said it will never get to you. I don't know if you remember that, but he said that.
Okay.
And yeah, it was easy peasy. I went in there, they gave me that brown envelope. I put the damn knife in there, and there's a letter in there too, but just a small.
I'm not going to read the letter. Okay. Well, people knew what you were sending, but let's just. All right. There's a nice. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to embarrass Cal because it's probably got.
No, it doesn't. Because I wrote it while I was at the post office.
You can't send that a picture of that. That's not allowed. Okay, now that's some information, but you're going to explain. I'll read this, but it's going to be some. Okay, so Kingsport Cal sent me. Oh, yeah, this is great. Look at this. Look at this. Got ourselves a little bit of a knife. We're going to do some whittling, kids. We're going to go out and whittle. We're going to whittle. Tell me about this, Cal. What do we got here?
That is a SOG Slim Jim. It is a discontinued knife. I picked that knife out of my personal collection for you, because of the slimness of it. It can fit in your blazer. It can fit in your pocket easily. And the blade on it, since you was talking about whittling, the blade on it is a Tanto blade. It's good for whittling.
Okay.
Now it has an assisted. You can open it one-handed, but you have to practice with it because
Yeah.
it has an assisted mechanism in it with the spring mechanism where it opens.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but like I said, it's from my personal collection, so it's the spring assist has been a little kind of worn out. But you can still do it with the thumb stud, but you just have to practice with it.
Okay.
So I'm not, But Sog is a very good brand. Look it up. It's a good brand. Anyway, yeah, I just thought it would be a good knife for it.
First of all, I really appreciate this. There's a lot of dangerous animals in my backyard. I need to defend it. No, but the fact that this is, first of all, that you took the time to send it. You paid to send it, Cal. It ain't cheap in Trump's America. And that it's from your personal collection. That means a lot. I had a couple knives back in the day. I had a 10th anniversary Smith & Wesson SWAT watch, a SWAT knife, I should say, not Swatch, but a SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics knife from Smith & Wesson that I got from my job from one of my bosses who was in SWAT, brand new. And some workers came to my apartment. This is me and my roommates had something going on, and they took it. They just took it from my table. It's gone. Knew it was them, but whatever. They denied it. So that was, and then I had another one that was a birthday gift from my friend Kojak and my other friend A Dave. Some of you might remember A Dave from the early Twitch days. And that knife just fell apart. It just fell apart. So Cal, I appreciate this. Why do you think I need to put it in my blazer?
Well, I'm just saying where it's so slim, it will fit easily in your blazer front, that chest pocket. You know what I'm saying? So,
I do know what you said.
Yeah, it's just a slim blade. Like, I don't know if you wear tight pants or not, but it won't show up that
tight
that well. You know what I'm saying?
Too tight.
If you had it in your pants, you was walking around with it around Burbank, doing your comedy nights, who knows what's going to happen after the show?
It's crazy out there.
But I just thought that you should have, because you said you didn't have a knife. So I
don't have a knife.
Every man should have at least one knife, even if they, you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. Every man should have a what? Not you ladies though. Which not what Kyle was suggesting. You're not suggesting that. I'm saying we wouldn't want you with a knife. I'm kidding. Legally, after my people, I'm kidding. Yeah, this is great. I'm obsessed with it. I might go whittle. Maybe I can whittle a little squirrel's nest. Put some, branches together. Okay, I appreciate this, Cal. This is impressive. I like it. I like it a lot. Who doesn't love a good weapon?
Well, it's not only a weapon. Knives are not just weapons; they are tools. Okay, knives are tools. They are tools. You can use it for numerous different things. But,
now, when you went to mail this without a return address, which as we established is legal but suspicious, did they have you? Hey, what did they have you declare, or like what's in it? What's in this thing?
No, it was simple. I went up and I said, hey, I want to mail a knife to a pocket. I said, I want to mail a pocket knife to a friend of mine, and I have no idea how to do it. And they said, well, take that brown envelope. How big is it? I said, it's not that big. They didn't even look at it. I said, it's not that big. And I wanted to also point out that I also sent that knife because it is thin and because it would cost me less to send it to you. But anyway.
Okay.
But yes, they said, yeah, just take that brown envelope. And I wrote all that out. I said, ain't you going to put a sticker on it? They was like, yeah, we're going to put a sticker on it, but you have to write it out. Anyway, so I wrote it out, and I wrote the little letter right there at the post office, and put the knife and the letter in there, gave it to them. They sealed it, weighed it. I paid for it. And I said, do I have to put my return address? They said, no, unless you want it back. I said, no, I don't want it back. And that was it. It was that simple.
I love this. I love this. You walk into the post office. Was it a post office or was it like a mailbox center like I go to?
No, I went to my local post office.
The U.S. Post Office.
Local post office. U.S. Post Office.
Okay. And you walked in and you went, hey, I got a knife. I'd like to send it cross country. That's it. That was it. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. It's that simple.
I kind of agree with Vermont Mike that postal inspectors may be at your door tomorrow. Or the postal police. The United States Post Office has their own police agency. I did not know this until about 2007 2006, where an employee of mine who used to be a like postmaster general kind of guy, like a head postman at a small rural like post office, got arrested for mail fraud. They had been tracking him. He came out to California and got a job in security. He was just kind of hiding out here, living his life after a divorce. And then all of a sudden, 2 post office police officers showed up and took him. So Cal, we're hoping for the best.
I'll be fine. And here's the thing, once it left that post office, it went to wherever it's going to go. They're going to X-ray it. You know what I'm saying? So they seen what was in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's no big deal.
You're just sending a Whitland tool. That's all. I appreciate.
Well, here's the thing, Ken.
Okay.
If Amazon can send you a knife, how come I can't send a knife to somebody else? You see what I mean?
Look, this is how we fight the revolution. We got to send Whitland knives across the world. All right, Cal. I appreciate this. I really do. I'm being sincere here. I really appreciate this.
Well, I was glad to see you again. You've given so much to me. I through your entertainment and everything like that. It's just nice to give you something physical back to show my appreciation.
I appreciate that. All right. I'll let you go here. But you got the time. I had no other calls queued up. If you guys want to call in, get in here. Let's talk about the United States Postal Inspection Service. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the hit me.
Can I say one thing? I just want to say, see with the Kimmel situation.
Yeah,
see what we can do. See what we can do when we put our differences aside and come together. It's not about sides and all that stuff. It's just about a principle. You know what I'm saying? People boycotting Disney and all that stuff. It's all about just principle and see what happened. Like he came back, was it like a week?
Under a week, yeah.
Under a week, yeah. They like money. What you get of money, that's why, that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Anyway. I agree. I want that quote on the nightly news. They like money, Kingsport Cal, probably. Yeah, and I agree in principle, in general, on what you said of putting aside differences to coming together on the principle. I would like to think that is the case more often than not, or that it should be the case. But often it is not. It is not. The own the libs mentality takes over a lot. There's also some hardening on the other sides of aisles and all that kind of stuff. But I do think even when you have a dipshit like Ted Cruz or others saying, I don't like Kimmel, but this is... And by the way, did you all hear Ted Cruz, when he was talking about his podcast, talking about what Brendan Carr said? He did like a Goodfellas voice, and it's horrendous. I think John Oliver covered it on a show. It's horrendous. And should be mocked. But even Ted Cruz, in that moment, I agree with him. So I do think you're right there, Cal. We can all come together and send knives and save late night talk show hosts.
And also, Ken, no, stop. See, you gotta handle with care. But that's what I was talking about.
It wasn't the blade. I pinched myself in this little corner. I'm obsessed with opening this. It's like, this is the worst fidget spinner in the world, but I like it.
Well, also be careful, Ken, because on the back of that is a lock. You can, once you open it, you can push this little slide in the back, and it will put the knife in place. And then you have to push that little slide back. So
because you want that, so if you cut somebody, the blade doesn't fold back in on your fingers. Now, so this was in your personal collection, Cal. Then I'll let you get out of here after this final line of question. This was your personal life.
Yeah, this was one of the when I first started collecting. This was one of the first knives that I got. Okay. That was a big deal knife to me. Because SOG is a very good brand. This is just like I said. This knife is discontinued. I think this knife came out like 10 years ago or 9 years ago, something.
But then let me ask you. Have
I used it for anything nefarious?
Yeah. No. What are these blood stains on it?
There's not blood stains on it. If anything, that might be a slight rust stain that you see on the back. I think I know what you're talking about. I cleaned that knife thoroughly before I melted it.
Clear. Okay. All right. I appreciate it. All right, Cal. I appreciate you, buddy. I really do.
All right, man. I'll see you. I'll talk to you later. Go drink a Buzzball. Still waiting on that Buzzball stream.
Oh, yeah, we do need to do that, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Send some bus balls. Super chat for bus balls. All right. Thanks, buddy. Kings for a Cow. Appreciate it. I really do. It's a nice little knife. I'm not intending to use this for ill will, but, I like having a little, I'll just hang it by my front door just in case I need to use it on a raccoon. Great gift, says Laserbolt. Yeah, Laserbolt would know. Like, Laserbolt, how much whittling can you get done with this kind of blade? And what the hell are you going to whittle for? I want to know. I whittled a lot as a kid. I'd go to my friend's house in the, quote, country, which was just a part of our town where the roads were tinier and the trees were bigger. And we'd whittle. I never did anything with the whittled sticks. I just whittled the sticks. Giggity. So what do? There you go. Michael McCarthy says you don't have to intend to do anything. Just, be ready. I agree with that. Let's take another call here at the time. We got also, I'll do a bit of a sports recap. I really mean it. I wrote down my football picks from last week. I know I was right about the Dolphins lost, but they covered. I can't remember who else I picked, and I thought the little list was right here, but it's not. It's gone. So I might not be. This is where I need producer Steve to come swinging in with my record, come swinging in with my wins and losses. We'll see. But I do want to take another call here. Returning to the show is the professor of all smart things around these spots, Addie. Addie, good to have you back.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Only 2 nervous breakdowns this weekend. You? How high did you get?
How high did I get?
Yeah, not literal high. How what was your nervous breakdown number this past week? Mine was 2.
0, because COVID really prevented me from having any sorts of anything.
Wait, does COVID take away your emotions? Sign me up again. Did it just knock you so flat? You're like, this is all I can do?
Basically.
Woo. How you feeling? How's it hitting?
Still not great. I managed to get to 2025 without ever actually having COVID. And 0 out of 10 do not recommend.
Yeah. You got hit. You got because I had a friend last month got hit, down for 3 weeks, essentially. There's that prime 5 days, but then there was like pretty much gone for 3 weeks, pretty much gone for a month. And then, when I finally got hit, I feel guilty. It wasn't that bad. Then I had one friend get hit and like he thinks he sniffled once. Like he just kept testing. It's frustrating. But you got hit.
Like it's mostly gone, but I still have just this like sinus thing and the cough, and I'm not a fan.
No.
Like I don't like it.
When it comes to COVID, you're saying no thanks.
0 out of 10.
0 out of 10. How are you back to normal? Are you still tested positive, or are you just back to how's it? How long? This has been a bit.
I have not tested in a few days because work has no formal policy on when I was allowed to go back to work.
Interesting.
So basically, once my fever broke, I waited like 2 days and decided I could go back to work.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds good. I trust you. You're a scientist. You know these things. But you didn't take any Tylenol to get better, right? So you're gonna be okay.
I took a lot of Tylenol to get better, Ken, and that is what I'm here to tell you about.
Yes, let's do it. We even got questions in the chat for you. Let's do it, Addie.
I would just like to point out 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
One of the earliest documented cases of what would probably be diagnosed as autism today is from a Martin Luther book. That Martin Luther, the one who started the Protestant church,
put the letter on the door
in the 1500s.
Mm-hmm,
the first formally diagnosed case of autism is from the 1930s. Tylenol was invented and marketed for pain relief in 1956.
So this is excellent information. I haven't had any time to dive into this story. So the 1936, you said the first one? 34,
The-
36,
The first documented case of autism where they actually called it that was diagnosed in 1938 and written
38.
about in 1943.
Okay. And then
And while
1500s.
acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, was first synthesized in 1878, it was not marketed as a pain reliever until 1950, when McNeil Laboratories introduced Tylenol as an aspirin-free alternative.
See, the 1950s, we can blame for a lot of things. So this is so that that substance, if we can, and I never mean to not put you on the spot, but make you speak with authority on the fly. But, you know, when you see this story today, and we knew it was coming, right? There was rumors of it, this and that, this big announcement, and then this just bonkers kind of thing. It isn't that there isn't certain dangers in these things, that liver damage is not there. How do you as a scientist help us divide fact from fiction, fact from stretched truth, all those kind of things? I know that's a big question for on the spot here. Ed, you're still recovering yourself, but where do you go with that?
So where I go is the fact I try my best to just stick to the facts.
Right.
And like most things, it is incredibly complex, that it does not have a single cause. Anyone claiming that autism has a single cause is oversimplifying a very complex reality.
Mm-hmm.
Diagnoses have increased dramatically in the last 25 years. That is in part because diagnostic criteria has been broadened in the last 30 plus years. Mm-hmm. We have better screening tools. More professionals recognize autism. We're identifying people who were always there, but were just previously undiagnosed. You know, little Timmy down the street who was obsessed with bugs in his rubber band ball was just labeled the neighborhood eccentric.
Right.
It's also very clear, or it's very, the study that they're pointing to did have an initial 5 to 7% increase in the risk of autism when pregnant women took Tylenol. But what they're failing to point out is that the women who take acetaminophen during pregnancy usually aren't random. They're already more likely to have infections, chronic pain, ADHD, autism themselves, or other psychiatric conditions that warrant the use of Tylenol. So there are compounding factors in there. These are women who already have quote unquote high risk pregnancies that then have other problems. When they compared siblings, one who had been exposed to Tylenol while mom was pregnant and one who had not, to control for genetics and the family environment, the association between Tylenol and autism disappears.
Wow. Yeah. None of this going to be brought up. None of this stated. None of this said. But this is why we have Dr. Addy here. Yeah, and what you said too of, I haven't had any conversations about this yet. This news came today, but it's like so often it is the old school mentality. I grew up with it. You grew up with it. We all kind of grew up with it of the weird kid in the class, or even just when I say, and by the way, when I say weird, I'm just saying that's the sign of the times and was the style at the time, or the hyperactive kid, and how that's just how we view ADHD or ADD. And even when bringing it up to some folks in my life who are older, and they weren't being dismissive, but I was like, yeah, I might have this. I'm looking into this. I want to figure this out. And they were like, well, why? You're not hyper. Like that. Yeah. But remember how I hyper fixated on Matchbox cars? Remember how I couldn't get things there's other things we know more, right? It's the meme of Pluto was always a planet until it was discovered. I've brought that up before. So anyways, I think that's excellent. 898 for M. Brady says, in the fact that, hey, the autism shouldn't be demonized. People live with it, including within our own community. That's part of the situation too, where this am I wrong, Addy, to call it an obsession with they've got to work hard to dismiss this, dismiss autism or even lesser, neurodivergency stuff like ADHD, but autism as a headline is my point. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Where I'm just like, they've just been obsessed with this for a while. We had Jenny McCarthy and all those dips back in the day. And you've got RFK who was saying it's the vaccines, but now they're, oopsie, it was the Tylenol. I don't understand where that comes from, other than anti-intellectual. I don't know. You know what I mean? This obsession with it.
I hesitate to say what I think out loud.
That's fair.
But it starts with an E.
Yeah. That's fair. And it's just like even it's not just, I don't want to just paint it with wide conservative Christian brushes. That's not even what I'm thinking, but even,
I think it's
even with meds, there's a resistance to it.
You mean like taking your meds like in a mental health capacity?
Well, just, even like, hey, I might have this. I can take some, the doctor can give me something to help it out. And by the way, I'm not saying that there isn't a problem with Big Pharma. I'm not saying there's, this is just like when you're having those one-on-one conversations and there's kind of this like, ooh, I don't know. Or, you should just pray. And it's just always like, what? Why don't you want to admit that like even autism is a thing, or that there's a reason we know now more, or that we're just learning, and then it's actually a good thing because people are discovering who they are and people are discovering how to better live as they are. Like it's just such a weird resistance to me.
Barring the first thought that came to mind that I don't want to say out loud.
Yes.
I believe that it is partially that I think people view it because the post that I was using for my rant just now was very quick to point out that like mothers who took Tylenol while they were pregnant and their children wound up being autistic should not be blaming themselves in this moment. And I think it is somehow like they view it as a moral failing that their child is not perfect.
I can come to that and understand. Yeah, I like what you're saying there. Tully Quinn says people in power seem to love eugenics. Hate anyone divergent or disabled. Yeah.
Oh, Tully said the word I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, ding, 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 the E word. But yes. JMB adding like conspiracists, they need to find something to blame and in a way they can understand. I think there's some truth there. I like what Michael McCarcel said here. People have an aversion to mental health. They like to pretend it's not real. Just call people the arsler, move on. And Ranger Donald had a good quote too. Yeah, there you go. Pray, push, work through it. It's the growing world. Yeah. But,
I think it also just goes like it's the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids. They'll leave it to Beaver mentality. Like
the nuclear family.
Anything less than that is you have failed.
It's This is maybe moving even outside the autism conversation, but yes, even through going through therapy, you'll see pushback from family members, which I can understand on some level in a passing way of if I'm a parent, I'm not a parent, but did I do something wrong? Did I hurt you? Did I raise you wrong? Like, and that's the fear parents in general are doing their best and this and that. And we're all here to untangle what came before us. We're all here to untangle our traumas. But there is this aversion that just like, I'm going to go to therapy. Like, oh, great. You're going to discover I'm a bad parent. Like so I get where it comes from, but I think it attaches a little bit to what you're talking about here too. The nuclear family, the 2.5 kids and white picket fence ideal.
Yeah. But like you said, there's no room to recognize the fact that like that diagnosis or any diagnosis is not a death knell. Like it doesn't make you like you can still be a like I don't mean anything I'm about to say, but like you can still be a contributing member to society and you can still lead a meaningful life.
Yes.
Like it's
Yes.
not the problem that they really want to make it out to be.
Right.
Like, I think we're all a little neurospicy.
Yeah.
Because I don't think any of our brains work the same way. And if they do, then I'm just a little neurospicy and I'm just now realizing it. Like,
I number one, I really agree with that overall. Like sometimes, and I too don't mean this cynically, but sometimes when I hear some people in my life who've recently got diagnosed with a lot of different things, pick what it is, I'm sometimes like, well, that just seems like living. And it's like, to me, I'm like, oh, that is kind of the point. That's kind of your point. Like, yeah,
like,
this is it.
Or we've found the ways to cope in the world that we live in. Like, I know what I need to do to get through my day, and that's what I do. It
could be downright moving. And if anyone here in chat has anything you want to call in and talk about of your own experiences, if you fall into some of these I'll say categories for lack of a better term, I want to hear from you. And we do have a lot in our community, but I have friends close to me who are not on air right now with me, who are not in the chat, who have recent ADD diagnosis, ADHD, or a lot. I think I have like 5 or 6 close to me with autistic diagnosis. And with it, first has come this sort of confusion and shame, maybe, that has built into what a lot of us are talking about here tonight, especially you, Addie, of this like, oh my God, I'm wrong, I'm broken. But then once they can work through that or push through that, or that's part of what the journey is, there's this great freedom. There's this great understanding of, oh, that's why. And it's actually, quite frankly, a beautiful thing to experience and talk to people about. Even if it's like, I'm 49 and I'm just learning this about myself, there's a little, God, I wish I learned this earlier. I wish society had let us learn this early. And that's also why I think I'm upset about this. What I'm saying is an obsession. There is kind of this drive to take away that kind of self-discovery and that kind of beauty from these wonderful folks in my life, including me. And that's where a lot of my angst and anger comes from tonight.
Yeah, no, I think about like I have a someone I know who made some comment. I had to explain the term neurodivergent to them in recent months. And they made some comment about some coworker that they have that like they'll tell them that they're overstimulated and they're going to go work in like the back corner of the store they work in to like get, to sort of help the fact that they're overstimulated right now, and how they just don't understand like them needing to do that. And I'm like, they know that they like they have a coping mechanism and they're doing it. Like, I think that's great. And they couldn't understand. Well, when I get overstimulated, I just power through it. And I'm like, that's great. That worked for you.
Yeah, we're touching on bigger conversation points, Addie, but I'm glad you go there, because I have failed that many, many times in my life, especially in the past. And like we always joke here, if we want to get into an argument about In-N-Out burgers or what toppings like on pizza, it's all done in fun, and you all should be in on the joke if you're bringing that here to this show, because I love those kind of conversations. They're silly. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, dip. I don't like ham on my pizza. What do you want me to do? And I see it. I think it applies to this kind of conversation of what we're talking about of it's not just older generations, but we as humans are like, our first instinct is to go, well, I wouldn't do that. Well, yeah, that's the point.
Right.
They would.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing, we don't live in a world where one size fits all anymore.
Yes. And we are absolutely more aware of that in these potentially wonderful ways. There's probably always going to be people standing in front of that. It's just to see it so out there and blatant from an administration like this one is where it gets frustrating and anger-inducing.
I do think that maybe I'm in my line of work, I'm a little privileged in that, like, I've had to adapt to some of these things more quickly because I get students who come through who have accommodations for various things where, like, I have to, let them use a laptop instead of taking notes by hand because they have software that they have to be able to record my lectures, or like, they have to take their tests in a quiet space, or they have like and it's just like that's just part of my daily life, is having to provide those accommodations to students, and it's just what we do. And as long as it doesn't compromise the integrity of my course, I will do whatever I need to do for a student to be successful in my course.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. You're on the cusp of it. And I think, when you're opening yourself up to just change, open yourself up to other folks, opening yourself up to younger generations, trust me, I am a crusty codger as well, right? Like, I see
same. Same. I'm an academic. We are old and set in our ways, Ken. We don't like change.
Yeah. But to push past that is, I think, one of the keys to living in this world we are now. And I really appreciate the stuff you're saying. You brought not only some facts, you brought some true humanity to the conversation, Eddie. And I just hoped anyone out there listening who, this news is both, like I said, it's anger inducing, it's wild. It also is so dumb that it should be poked fun at. But if you're out there and this is something that, now you have to add to any of your struggles with it, we're glad you're here, and we're glad that you are as spicy as you are, because it's who we are.
We are glad you're here, and we're glad your brain works the way it does, because looking at things from a different perspective is how we solve problems.
Indeed, including knives in the mail. Addie, I appreciate you calling in, and I appreciate you battling through your own illness to participate here tonight. I think it was really valuable.
Of course, Ken. Try not to get involved in any dancing knife fights on the Upper West Side, will you?
I will not. Absolutely not. Thank you, Dr. Addie.
Have a good one.
Dr. Addie calling in. Love that call. Real valuable stuff there. It's what we do here at the Blathering. If you're just swinging through, you're listening later, appreciate you. Some updates on the channel, the YouTube channel. I am now making a Monday morning show public in the video form as well. But channel members and Patreon supporters will get it early. I'll be maybe next couple of days not doing too many tweaks to the Patreon page, but trying to put more there, trying to put little bite-sized pieces of content and posts out there for you all to enjoy, for supporting. Also adding a bigger tier that I'm not expecting to be a well-used tier, but it's just something that a friend of mine has been doing on his Patreon page, and I'm going to try as well. So look for that. Also, I'm going to try. I don't want to overpromise because I see how it turns out. But I've been posting a lot more stand-up sets, both publicly and on Patreon page. Really appreciate you guys letting me kind of vlog along. I'm kind of like documenting my ups and downs in stand-up, but I've had some good sets lately. Friday night I had like it was like a bad set, but it was a bad set for every comic. We all had a bad show. It was a weird vibe. It wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible, but I think, and I was like, well, I probably won't be able to post anything, but I think, and hopefully y'all want it, I'm going to post, a comic reacts to his own bad set and just kind of play by play, walk you through some of the thoughts, just because, I don't only want to share the things that are, successful. I want to document the journey as well. Blathering mailbag coming also as well. If you have any questions for the Blathering mailbag, YouTube channel member or Patreon supporter, look for those posts. Please add to them. They have been great. No super blathers tonight, so we'll start rounding the corner in the bend on the show here tonight. I think I said so I picked the Eagles, right? I did pick the Eagles. Someone in chat said that earlier. I picked the Eagles, and that's about the only thing I can remember. What were the teams last week? Here we go. Let's slide this up here. Maybe someone. I know I think I took Pittsburgh over the Patriots. Did I take? Oh my God, I can't. It's producer Steve is just an angel, and we miss him because I tried so hard to remember who I picked. There we go. Brady kind of remembers. Brady remembers. I don't know. Update too as well. Steve should have sent me the notes. Yeah, Steve's a little busy. Kingsford Cow. He's a little busy right now. Update for the Critter Quarter, and then we'll start getting out of here if there's any calls that want to come in here. I got 2 Blue Jays absolutely terrorizing my peanut collection for the squirrels. Does anyone know how to make peace with Blue Jays? That's what I'll say. I don't want to get rid of them. I think they're beautiful birds, but they're my alarm clock now. They wake me up very early with their screeches. Their screeches, I call them squeachies, but they're just so loud and shrill, and they want goddamn peanuts. And so when I come out there, they are like almost like harassing me and then taking all the peanuts from my squirrels that they earn. And I don't know what to do with it because I do like them. I like all my critters. Like my cats, like my raccoon. I like my skunks, 3 skunkies, and my squirrels. Anyways. 898 versus, I'm sorry for sending those pecan flavored peanuts. They're all gone. Skunks loved those peanuts, Brady. They're gone. Serenity Jane is kind of right. Peanuts to everyone. The critters are eating me out of house and home. I've gone through, normally I get a big, like 5-pound bag of peanuts, and that lasts me six weeks or so. I went through one in like 2 weeks. JB says, Blue Jays, it'd be a real shame if something happened to your squirrels. Because yeah, that's kind of what's going on. Like today, I couldn't even capture on video. This is going to be a boring old man story. But I went outside there. I had a handful of peanuts, and I was just kind of tossing them around the yard because I didn't want to put them on the table because the birds were dive bombing. And then the 2 Blue Jays were like, follow me around. Like, we're literally like a foot above me on the trees or in my backyard. And then I'd throw one down on the ground, and then would go get the peanut and fly and come back. And they would just like, it was impressive, these creatures. I'm just having problems with Blue Jays. We got one more call coming in here. Let's take it from David. How are you doing, David?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. So the Jimmy Kimmel thing.
Yeah, hit me.
So I'm seeing people speculating that, it may have been Kimmel holding out more than Disney holding out in the end there because, the blowback was more significant than they thought it was going to be. And, apparently his contract is up in the spring anyway. So it was, yeah. So, but like somebody like actually Keith Olbermann was speculating that, he may have gotten, a little something extra out of it or something like that. But it reminds me of, I don't know, you probably weren't listening to Sam Cedar back in 2017 when he got fired off of MSNBC because Mike Cernovich dug up an old joke of his that
right.
Yeah, the same guy who dug up old things from James Gunn.
Right. Yes.
But so when that happened with Sam Cedar, there was such blowback of it that eventually they brought him back on MSNBC. Or he was just a contributor; he was just a guest. So
right, guest. Yeah.
It was But what Sam was saying at the time was when these corporations do this, they are operating in an old mentality of back before people were really aware of what was going on behind the scenes, where their whole idea is just make it go away, make the controversy go away as fast as possible. And usually the best way to do that was just fire the person involved. Nobody will notice. It'll just, and with him, the blowback was so big, it actually increased his own audience on his show. And so he always thanks Cernovich for it whenever he brings it up.
Yeah.
And I don't think Disney expected to get what they got with all the talk of people, canceling Disney Plus memberships and all that. And so
No, I think David, you're bringing some truth to the table here, and the close to $4 billion in losses. I know saw some follow up reports that the stock losses were not maybe as grand as people thought. It actually is blah blah blah, but whatever. But it's the perception, and they do see it, and they do hear it, and they do feel it, and they do see the people outside the Disney studios on Buena Vista. They do have reports on their desk of here's what's going on. They're as much as they'd like to be in these silos of power, they feel it, and they know that rattles their silo of power. So a lot of this makes sense. I for one hope Jimmy, and maybe they'll say we don't want you, you don't want us, but I hope he goes and finds a new home, even coming back. But I don't know. Maybe his heart is pure. But like, you don't forget this. You don't forget this.
Yeah,
no way.
It's you got to build that trust back somehow, and I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, especially the talks. And again, we don't know. But like, yeah, like the idea of, well, you got to clean it up and everything. And look, it's network television. That's still the last bastion of prim and proper. Totally get it. I'm not even talking about what he said, but they have some kind of control over that. I understand, because people, the Bible Belt will react if you say, shoot, darn it. I get it. But I can't imagine this climate with where he's been the last year. And again, they and you know this too, David, but this was so more about the merger, right? More about the acquisition. That's why sometimes I think not us here on this show or anywhere, like to get lost in the weeds of what he said is missing the big point of corporate capitulation as well. That's the bigger issue for me.
Yeah, and I think it would be really surprising if he stopped making Trump jokes, because I mean that's the only content that really anybody had a problem with, and that was really just Trump having a problem with it.
Yep.
So
yep. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying and what you brought to the table here tonight, David.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
All right, David calling in. Thank you so much for your YouTube channel members and Patreon supporters that call into the show. Addie coming in clutch like a true professor, says, I took the Dolphins to lose but cover. Okay, here we go. I took the Raiders over the Commies. I took the Eagles. I took the Chargers, and I took the Patriots. Did Washington end up losing? I tell you, I unplugged. Once the Dolphins lost, it went to 0-3. I completely unplugged football this weekend. We'll take it. NFL scores week 3, 2025. Oh, gosh, Detroit looking good. Chargers, but the Chargers only by 3 points. So that might, no, Raiders blew it. Okay, so, all right. So we took some losses. We'll figure that out. Thank you, Abernathy. Appreciate that. There we go. Laserbolt asks a question. Should we resubscribe to Disney Plus now or let them sweat it out for a while? Yeah, right. And I have been very honest. I did not cancel my Disney Plus subscription. I wanted to. I thought about it. It's a shared account. It was just a little more life complications than I wanted to deal with. But I also, and this is not, I want to make no shade against anyone who did it, but like I wasn't going to post a picture of it. It's just, that's not my style. But it was to the point. And then I was in my mind, I was like, this is fluid. This is changing fast, and I'm just going to let it be for now. That was my choice this weekend, my path. But others, if you canceled your Disney park pass, everything, I think that's great. I think that's absolutely what worked. It absolutely was part of it too. But it's not done yet. Not done yet. We will see. And this, I don't think, will be the last example of this. I don't think this will be the last name. And they might circle back and go after him again. Who knows? Who knows? I think that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me here tonight. I appreciate you all. We will do it again on Thursday. Next week's recorded schedule, we'll have a show on Saturday. Like I said, so Saturdays, I'm trying to do this. We've been doing the hour of calls. I love that. But I also want to do silly Saturdays as well. For the hour that we do the show, I just want to provide, if there's something very important we need to talk about, I'm going to talk about it. But I think on Saturday, we'll do a little bit of a silly Saturday kind of branding. Fun and games. Maybe I'll drink those Buzz Balls. Not going to divide up the show where Monday's serious and Thursday's sports and this, but I just like the idea if I'm going to continue to do shows on Saturday, at 4 Pacific. That'll be an hour of fun where we can all come together here and maybe turn off our mind a little bit more. But you know me, if something's important we need to talk about, we will talk about it. All right, fair enough, fair enough. Thank you all for hanging out with me here tonight. Lions up big, go celebrate that. Let's do it, let's do it. Thank you all for hanging out with me here on another episode of The Blathering. Bye.